Colossus and Juggernaut are two of the strongest X-Men bruisers in the history of the title. Both brawlers are natural rivals, given their power sets and imposing physical statures. Their rivalry was especially heated when Colossus briefly usurped Cain Marko as the champion of Cyttorak. Other popular mediums use the Colossus-Juggernaut rivalry, of course, with perhaps the most visually satisfying being Deadpool 2's climax, which focused on a no-holds-barred brawl between the two characters. Colossus earned a difficult win, in part by fighting dirtier than he normally would. For how common super strength is as a power, it's surprisingly rare to watch two comic book brawlers really duke it out on the big screen. Fans have complained for years about the lack of proper brawls in superhero movies, whether it's Superman not being able to punch his opponents or the Avengers being stuck fighting waves of faceless CGI mooks. That's part of the reason the climax of Deadpool 2, where Colossus and Juggernaut went toe-to-toe, was so satisfying. We finally got to see two big powerhouses lock up and go toe-to-toe on the big screen. Unfortunately, the fight didn't quite go as it should. Here's why. But before that, we notice a lot of you are watching our videos and we hope you enjoy them. So please subscribe to our channel and help us get to 1,000 subscribers to bring you more content like this. Colossus, otherwise known as Pyotr Nikolaevich Rasputin, was born in the Soviet Union, living on a farm with his brother and sister. He was 13 when his mutant abilities first manifested. When he originally received his powers, he used them to help the other people in his nation. He was praised as a sort of state hero, but his powers were not truly his to use. He was not truly free. He was not free, at least until Professor X came to rescue him. Xavier offered him a place at his school for gifted youngsters, where he could learn to use and harness his powers. There they were his to use as he pleased, and Piotr decided he wanted to become a hero. For all his steel skin, he has a heart of gold. Colossus has the ability to convert his entire body into a unique steel-like organic substance. This metallic form is extremely durable, able to withstand almost any form of pressure, keeping his internal organs and head safe. His transition to an armoured form is a conscious choice, and it's unclear how long he can hold the form. However, if he is knocked unconscious, he automatically transitions back. He also must transform his entire self. He cannot selectively transform individual parts of his body. And while Colossus is naturally strong, when he is in this armoured form he is impossibly strong with a Class 100 strength, meaning that he could lift more than 100 tons. There's no certain limit to his strength, and like most heroes, it is augmented by his willpower. His transformation renders him easily the most powerful X-Men on the team. His skin can also withstand heat up to 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is all but the temperature of the surface of the sun. He can withstand cold to nearly absolute zero. Both vibranium and adamantium pose a threat to his unique metal organic skin, however, and have been able to slash through it in the past. Additionally, his metal skin can melt at temperatures that are too hot and freeze at absolute zero, leaving him brittle enough to break. More than anything, Colossus's greatest weakness is his greatest strength. He wants to be a hero. He is a powerful mutant, but when he's in his human form, he's just a human. He will do whatever it takes to save the day, and as always, someone villainous enough could use that against him and make him turn back into his human form. Cain Marko is Professor X's stepbrother, but he wasn't born with extraordinary powers. Instead, he grew up forming a deep hatred for the ever-gifted, ever-beloved Charles Xavier, and did as much as he could to undermine and sabotage Charles's plans. When Marko and Xavier were serving in the military, Marko put his brother in danger and went exploring in a deep cave where he found a temple to an old god. Inside the temple, he found a glowing ruby. He grabbed the gem and its power to become a human Juggernaut and the avatar of the ancient god Cyttorak. He often found himself opposing the X-Men, perhaps out of spite and perhaps out of his alignment with other malignant supers. Juggernaut is granted all of his powers from the god-demon Cyttorak. It's unclear just how powerful Cyttorak is, but it's safe to say that his power is effectively unlimited. He can grant as much as he wants to Juggernaut and still be impossibly powerful. The primary power he grants Juggernaut is strength, but he also does not need to sleep, eat or breathe, nor does he require any other form of sustenance. He can also survive as long as he is the avatar of Cyttorak. Once Juggernaut gains momentum, nothing can slow him down. His power is called Irresistible Force Embodiment. His helmet prevents telepathic influence, and his armor makes him even stronger. He is often regarded as one of the strongest people on Earth, even able to contend with the Hulk. His strength is class 100+, meaning that there has never been any known limit to his strength. And Cyttorak can always grant him more power too. But just as Cyttorak can grant him power, he can take it away. Since Cain Marko has been Juggernaut for so long, he will always have superhuman strength, but without his armor or gem, he is absolutely nowhere near as powerful. Also, while he is unstoppable, that does not mean he's extremely agile. Dodging him is often the best form of defense. And finally, Juggernaut is easily angered, and when he's angry, he's more likely to make mistakes. The fight in the movie itself can be hard to follow, given that it's spliced with much of the rest of the action during the film's climax. The super strong metal mutant Colossus decides to go full-on Cobra Kai and fight dirty against the stronger Juggernaut, and throughout the fight manages to finally get the upper hand with a classic live wire in the rectum move. Fights don't get much dirtier than that, and even then, Colossus really needed his allies to help him out. Not only did Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio help Colossus deliver his coup de grace, but it's also easy to forget that Domino's fortune-favouring powers were on Colossus's side the whole time. While the fight will always be cool to watch, it still leaves fans wondering who would really win in a true head-to-head. Anybody hungry for more Juggernaut versus Colossus action is wise to look in the comics, because the two have been a classic matchup since their first duel in The Uncanny X-Men number 102. Much like the movie, Colossus was aided during the fight by his fellow teammates. Unlike the movie, it didn't quite work out for him. The Juggernaut of the comics is so overwhelmingly powerful that he could power through everything the X-Men threw while delivering devastating blows of his own. That's generally what's important to understand about the comic book Juggernaut and how he differs from the version in the film. While Deadpool 2's Juggernaut was doubtlessly powerful, the original version is an unstoppable force of nature. In Uncanny X-Men number 183, Juggernaut destroyed Colossus and the bar they were in yet again. And even when both combatants were magically amped in Fear itself, Colossus never got a clear victory. It's the easiest thing in the world to complain about how the comic books and the movies are different, and there's no point in comparing the two. But what the comparison brings up is just how much the narrative can shape the conclusion of such matchups. The comic books go to epic lengths to demonstrate that Juggernaut is a physical powerhouse, and the movie was willing to try to establish the same reputation up until the point it became inconvenient. Juggernaut's destruction of the highway overpass during his escape from the prison convoy is a feat far surpassing any physical strength Colossus demonstrated in the film franchise. Even at the start of the two's brawl, Juggernaut crumples Colossus's fist in his hand and bends the wrist back. Even when Colossus manages to break Juggernaut's pinky fingers, the behemoth shrugs off the pain. Colossus may have an advantage in skill and speed, but it just wouldn't be enough in a fair fight. It even seems plausible that in the unfair fight of the film, Colossus should not have won. No weakness to electricity was established, and even with the current running through an sensitive area, it seemed likely that a Juggernaut with the reputation of the comics or earlier in the film should have shrugged off that attack as well. However, he just wasn't the central antagonist, and the plot needed him KO'd once the showy battle was done. The Juggernaut may be unstoppable, but the plot is always omnipotent. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to KRTV Marvel.